Hello guys, this is the Crypto Cowboy. We are on June 19th at about 11:50 Central Time, 12:50 New York time. And let's quickly take a look at Bitcoin and see where we are, what's been happening since we last talked about it. So I'm going to start on the daily charts and just kind of take a look at two primary counts that I have. I mean, actually a primary and a secondary, but they're both kind of leading us into the same direction. So what you're looking at here, it's my kind of Elliott wave, sort of green wave, should I call it, or maybe a primary wave. Um, what you have here is you have further development into this wave 5. So if we start from the bottom, we have the wave 1 orange, 2 orange, 3 orange complete, 4 and 5 to complete this wave 1. And you guys know that over the weekend, and I think through my latest updates, we were looking at this wave 4 here developing as a potential triangle, and it looks like, I've seen some counts, and you can actually count it as a triangle as well, except that you would have to have a very small wave D up here and a wave E down here. But I think it just looks better when you count it as a running flat, where you have a 3-wave down in A, 3-wave up in B, and then a 5-wave move drop in C, and now you go up into this wave 5. So pretty bullish development since December 15 lows, December 14 lows, and it looks like we busted above $9,000, $9,100, and we went as high as 94, 94.50, 94.80 in some platforms. So the thing about this is that we are still looking at this wave 5 for completion, and I don't think we're quite done yet. So after we finish up this wave 5, what's going to happen is we should have a complete structure here in wave 1. That once you have 5 wave moves from the low, then you can expect a pullback in an ABC in a wave 2. And we can talk about this wave 2 a little bit. I would rather talk about it after this completes, but just for demonstration and learning purposes, I'm going to go and do a wave 2 versus 1, which is basically a fib retracement of this whole move up once it terminates, right? So if I play with this, you can see that my fib levels modify, right? If this is done, then they'll come lower. So once you have an established wave 1 top, by finishing up this wave 5, we're going to pull back in a wave 2. That's pretty much how markets work, and you got to get that wave 2 before you get the wave 3 thrust up. So anywhere between 38% here and 61%, this wave 2 can fall anywhere. So that can be between 6,700 and 5,000. This would be a good area where in case we're getting this gift from the market, where the market comes back down here, would be a good area to charge back on buying longs in Bitcoin. And for whoever wants to hold a little bit longer, you're looking for a move above 20,000. So in the meantime, let's take a look at this wave 5 and what's happening inside the structure. So you can see what I've marked here. I've done a wave 5 compared with wave 1. So 100%, usually when you have a third wave extended, like we have up here, if this is indeed a 3-wave, the 5-wave, most times than not, it will match the length of the wave 1. The next common target is 161% multiple of this wave, right, which is a little bit higher. Where if I go, it's going to be 12,356. All right, let's stick for right now just with this target at about 10,228, where wave 5 equals wave 1. So that's on this wave count, and I'm going to kind of come back and look inside the structure. For right now, all I'm seeing, basically, if this is a flat, I'm not seeing much here. I'm not seeing a big subdivision just by looking on daily charts. And you can argue that, even on this wave 1, you got to go to smaller time frames to kind of count 5 waves in here. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up here, I don't know yet. So if this wave C pulls down there instead of what it is, and now you have already wave 1 up and 2 down, you have a 3, that means that we're doing a 4, and we still have to do a 5 to complete the structure. But there's more arguments here about how this wave will develop, but just from a quick glance on a daily chart without even going anywhere else, you can kind of see what we're trying to do here, right? 1 2 3 4 5, done, and then pull back. Could this wave 5 extend? Yes, I've said that it can go to 1618, it can go to 2618. So that's a different discussion. We're going to have to look for signs of reversal once we reach this areas, and if we don't get them, then we have to stay with the trend. So the other wave count, it's this wave count, which is, I call it primary A1, where basically, I'm going to squeeze this in so we can see a little better, where I still have the counts kind of the same, where I go 1 orange, 2 orange. The difference here is that this 3 orange is not done yet, which means that this 5 orange will be much higher than our 5 orange in the other chart, where it's at about 10,200. This one can go probably as high as 13,000, 14,000 once the structure completes. So we are focused on this wave 3 to be completed, because the subdivisions here are counted differently. You can go 1 2 3, you've done your flat in 4, so this is still a wave 4, just like in the other wave count, but it's of a higher degree. So, I mean, of a lesser degree. So now you have insight here. You can go, and this is the updates that I make on the Telegram channel, and basically we're focusing on this shorter term moves and just kind of see how this develops and try to take advantage of some of these moves. And if I go, so we're still targeting pretty much the same area up here. You can go between 10,200 to, let's say, 10,800. That's where you would have, I have like a 1618 extension. Basically, if this wave 5 green would be done, and it would match this wave 5 blue would match this wave 1, it would be exactly where we are right now. And it could be that, you know, they were done. I just don't see the full structure being completed yet. So basically, we're still looking for this wave 3 to finish. And let's go to a 6-hour chart, and I'm going to show you there what it is. So if this was the bottom of the wave 4 after that running flat, you have A, B, C coming down, and maybe this actually has to go down here to have a 5 wave move down in C, because you got to have 1 2 3 4 and 5. So if this actually goes down here, then I have to eliminate this structure in wave 1 green, and what I'll do, actually, let me just do that right now, just so we can kind of clean it up, because what I was trying to say is I was trying to make sure I have a double 1 2 here to allow for a larger move up. But now that I'm looking at it, can I count this wave, this C wave of this flat, as a 5 wave move? And if I really want to, I can, but I'm not really happy about it. So you can go wave 1 2 3 4 and 5, right? This will be a very small wave 4. That's why maybe this should be here, and instead of having a double 1 2, you would have only 1. But just leave it like that. It doesn't matter. I think the implications are the same. So you can go, let's say you go 1 2 green. Now you're in the middle of this 3 green up, so you need 5-way structure. You go 1 2 red, and now you have 3 red, 4 red, 5 red, and now we're in the middle of this 3 red, which also subdivides into 5 waves. So you can go 1 2, this is clearly a 3, so we're waiting for the development of this wave 4 in a triangle, and what it does right now, it extends a little bit more than this wave 2. And I know I'm getting a little bit more technical in here, but I think it's important, you know, to look at the substructures and try to understand them to be able to analyze Elliott wave properly. So we're looking at this wave 4 to be complete in a triangle, so we can go, it could be already done and we're shooting back up higher. Obviously, once we go above the top of wave B, which is at 9460, we would consider this triangle done and we're shooting up in this wave 5. So to go back to the previous discussion, and you know, just as a quick note, you can notice how I've labeled this channel. I'm going to go down and kind of look at this channel. I've had a questions from one of our members here in the Telegram channel, asking how I'm drawing this channel. So I want to spend a little bit of time talking about that too. So let's say that this wave 4 finishes up here, and now you only have a 2-wave structure, just a simple 1 2. That can still work fine. So you can go 1 2, and you completed this wave 3. Actually, from here it will go down here, and now this wave 4 from there it would go down here, and you still have to do this wave 5. What that would do is it will bring this structure to be complete a little bit sooner than if you keep it on the wave green, because then you need more subdivisions to get up there. So, and I'm totally fine with that. Maybe that is the count, because then you would get kind of closer to 10,200 and call it good, and have this wave 3 finish before you start the larger wave 4 pullback down. And you notice how I have this larger channel on the daily chart. I'm going to go back at it, and you know, there's not a lot of there are some rules about how to draw the channels, but trying to do that, it will just kind of drive you nuts. So you have to go by the way the price moves. And you can clearly see how, if I take even this middle of the channel, you can see how I'm looking for places where the price is touching and it's responding to the trend line. So if I basically just start the channel at the lowest point of this wave 2, and then I extend it to the beginning, to the end of this wave 1, right, you can see how prices responded to this trend line on the top side. So that's why, and then I basically just put a middle line into the channel, and that gives me an idea of how the market responds. Because, you know, if they seem chaotic, I think markets are very elegant, and they tend to respond to you know, they have an ebb and flow, and they need to respond to this trend. If we have a trending move up here, then these lines in here will sort of have to be respected. So if we are definitely penetrating to the top of this trend line up here, and you start going higher, then you know that while this channel remains, you have to adjust your channel going up like that, and then have that as your a guide for the next few waves or whatever it's happening there. Okay, but for right now, I'm considering this as the main channel. So every time we're going to pull back in here, I'm going to look for Elliott wave patterns that correspond to this to be able to buy. Or if we come lower, you know, kind of same thing. So this is just basic technical analysis and just trend channeling techniques, right? So let's go and look inside this channel just a little bit more here and see, go to a 3-hour chart. So you can kind of see how what I'm trying to do here with the subdivisions, and you go 1, 2, so 3 blue, and then we have a triangle here, A, B, C. Possible that this is done, you get a D, and then you have an E. But we have to move up higher right away, because if we keep going sideways, that means that this is not correct. So I'm allowing for this triangle to develop a little bit more, and I mentioned that in my frequent updates. But this wave D can still be, you know, developing. And if you actually look at, you know, at the measurement of this wave here, if this is actually a wave 2, where you go, you know, you say you have this timeline here going on in this wave, you know, you'll kind of match with this timeline. So maybe this wave 3, like I said before, needs to be here, and this wave 4 needs to be here, and then we're just going up higher to complete this wave 5. So anyway, I think I've explained myself enough basically here with the internals of this channel. And also you can see, if I even go to a 2-hour chart, you can see how I draw the channel here through the bottom of this prices. And then same kind of thing, I'm trying to extend this to where I have the biggest move, and you can play with it, right? It doesn't have to be extremely precise, but you can kind of, you know, pull it a little bit lower and see where the prices kind of touches. It can even go something like this if you think it's going to go higher, but for right now, I think this is a pretty decent looking channel where the price responds. You can see how Bitcoin came down even in this triangle, and it kind of touched here a couple of times the bottom of this trend line, and it kind of pulled back up. Now we're dancing here kind of around it. If we're coming below the bottom of this wave A, and I make those notes into my updates as well, where I go, okay, this is, you know, a critical level here. If you think this is a triangle, we cannot come below this. You know, one of the guys that I talk to in private chats and you know, kind of helps me with the channels, was asking me about, you know, where would be some of the stops and the losses, I mean, and the targets when you trade. And I'm not here necessarily to provide trading advice for you guys. What I want to do is I wanted to, you know, give you a sense of the market direction and a sense of market structure, and then you have to put your pants on and make decisions for yourself where you want to get in and when you want to get out. If I am to provide a trading service where I give you all my entries and all my exits, that's a totally different story. In here, what we're trying to do is we're trying to analyze market structures and wave analysis so it can help you trade better based on what I'm saying here. So if this is a triangle and you're long based on this analysis, then you don't want to come below 88.40 because then your count is completely invalidated, so you want to get out of the trade, right? So if you just decide to take a long right now, just on what I'm talking about, you're at 91.65, you have to risk $150 to find out if this trade is if this is correct or not. But if you're holding on the trade while pulling below here, then you're not trading your triangle, you're trading something else. So if this ends up being a running flat, just like the previous structure, for example, this goes an A, B, and now we're doing a C down, right? You could be correct in the end, but your trade, the one that you took, that you put money at risk for, it's not valid. You are not trading, you're trading on hopes now because you're thinking, well, if it's going to be a flat, it's going to go up. Well, what if it doesn't? What if it keeps falling down? Then what is your stop? So think about this when you trade and when you put money at risk. Think about the patterns that you like and that you want to trade, being a zigzag or being a triangle or being a flat or whatever else that's out there, an ending diagonal, a leading diagonal, and pick the ones that have the most chance of success. Learn to read the charts, learn to read the price action, look inside the structures. You don't need to go crazy and go to a 5 or 1 minute chart to start counting waves there because you're going to drive yourself nuts. You have to get good at it at the 4-hour chart and higher, 4, 6, daily, weekly, and start to identify what's going on, and then you can pick trades in the direction of a trend. Okay, so this is just my kind of getaway from the analysis and just a little trading advice, but I don't do that a lot. So that's it. That's basically what we have in Bitcoin. If I go and I take a look quickly at Litecoin, I think I have a couple of wave counts here as well. Litecoin still looks pretty much bullish. This is a 3-hour chart. I'm going to go to a 6-hour and see how it looks here. I also make regular updates on this one in our regular, so in our Telegram channel. You go 1, 2, and then we're in the middle of this larger wave 3. So this is a pretty intensive bullish count if you count this wave, because if I go on the daily chart, you can see that I've kind of labeled this as a wave 1, and for this to be wave 3, it means that the Litecoin has to go above $300. So it's scary to think about it like that, but it's not illegal, it's not impossible. Litecoin, if this is a wave 2, Litecoin can actually get on its horse and start moving higher aggressively into a wave 3. So, and if I go into the smaller structures here, into a 3-hour chart, you can see how we've labeled ever since the bottom of this wave 2. You can go 1, 2, 1, 2, and then I have another possible 1, 2 here, right? If this is another 1, 2 instead of a 3, 4, 5, that means that we have to move aggressively up. But for right now, we are in a channel, market is trending. I can't go crazy by counting all the subwaves because it's not going to get me anywhere. I just have to kind of keep an eye on it and put some guesses here about what the wave count is, because it can you can be 1, 2, and then is this a 3? It can be a 3 because then it's the same size as this, so it's got to be another 1. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and maybe this is a third wave instead of another 1, 2, but it's just developing and goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can drive yourself nuts trying to find this out, but just kind of look at the patterns. If you have a 5-wave move completion, you have a correction, you're looking, if the price comes down here, you have to maybe allow for this of being a wave 2 and look for the structure to continue. So that's Litecoin. I think it's still pretty bullish. This is another way to count this, where if I go on a daily chart, I go 1, 2, 3, 4. This is actually an A4, and now we're going up higher into this wave 5 substructure, which if I take a multiple of this wave 1, I mean, my God, this would have to be an extremely extended wave 5 to be considered a wave 5. Just look at the size of this wave 1 and look at the size of this wave 5. So what is this whole structure here? Which count is correct? Is it the one that it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or is the one that says that this is actually wave 1, where you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is a 2, and now we're just starting 3. So this is kind of what I'm doing here, trying to respect the trend and trying to count it to make sure I'm on the right direction on the market. All right, Ethereum, it's pretty sloppy. I have 2 wave counts here as well. I have one where it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a leading diagonal pullback in a very small wave 2. Usually in leading diagonals, wave 2s are supposed to be a little deeper, not a case here. So maybe this is another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe. So you go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to establish this trend. And let me put a middle line here as well on the channel. And then yeah, we're looking for that to be somewhat respected. I'm just going to pull this higher a little bit here. There you go. And then the other count, I'm going to save this, okay, and then the other count is this one, which is a little bit more detailed, where I think, and I'm posting this again in the Telegram room, where I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pull back in wave 2, which can still come down a little bit more, and then we're looking for this to get up higher. So if this wave 4 is over or not yet, it could be also a triangle. That's why I'm keeping an eye on the development back here. But if you want to take a trade basically based on this 1, 2, you want to wait for the market to come a little lower, you know that if this is a wave 2, you cannot come below 226 because then your trade is wrong. So there, I just kind of said it how I usually trade. If I get involved in a wave 2, that's what I need to do. Sometimes I'll even put the stops below the 786 because I know that if the market, so if you want to be more, let's say, conservative, you can put the stops below 786. Because usually if we pass through this, the chances that we're going lower are pretty big. So, but some other traders do just below the bottom of below the start of the wave 1, right? But if I go, let me just go quickly on the 6 hour. I know this is video, it gets a little longer here. We're almost at the 20-minute mark. So, and then on daily, we have this, instead of having it a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I have a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Then I'm doing 3, 4, 5 for a 3, 4, 5 for another 3, and so on and so forth. So, all right, I hope you guys enjoy this content. If you do, please subscribe to my channel, give me some thumbs up, and come into our rooms on the Telegram channel and just search for, I actually have the links down below this video in the description, so just go there and click, and then it will take you if you want to be more up to date to the market commentary and all that. So all right, any suggestions or any comments, leave them below, and I'll